Ladies and gentlemen, we are live, coming to you live from the great state of Texas. This is
Yeah.
the Jay and Will Show. We are back tonight. We will be going over the predictions for Week 11. As you guys already know, this is a weekly tradition for us. So as we move on to Week 11, we'll just take a brief step back into Week 10. Tally up the results. It wasn't a great week for predictions last week either. Um,
It's
but
chaos.
it's chaos, bro. It's hard to pick. So now going to week 10, the results for week 10, Will won again, but it was 7-6.
Oh dang.
So now like for the total up to week 10, our predictions we are at I have 86, you have 85, of course. Of course. So it's neck and neck as always. And I tried to do some different stuff last week, just to try and break the monotony up a little bit, and it worked. I
Yeah.
mean, you won. But this week, like we just said, man, like it's hard to predict now. Like,
Yeah.
felt we had kind of a good handle on it the first maybe like 7 weeks or so, and then
Yeah.
the wheels just fell off the track. Like
Once it hit November.
it just that's exactly right. Once in November, everything went to you know what, and
Mhm.
it's just been crazy. So we're gonna try it again this week, going into week 11. What we'll do, obviously, we're live on a Saturday night, so we will discuss Sunday's games, and then of course the Monday Night Football game this week as well. Um, so we will get right to it. So first game on the schedule, we have the 5-4 New Orleans Saints visiting the 4-6 Philadelphia Eagles. This one, Eagles are playing better as of late.
Yeah.
Obviously, Saints missing Jameis Winston have been starting Trevor Simeon as their quarterback. Hasn't played poorly necessarily. Defense has been really good, and really what's
Yeah.
been their anchor and keeping them afloat. So this one should be a good game. How you see this one shaking out? Who are you picking to win it?
I'm going New Orleans. I think their defense is just going to be they're going to be able to make plays on Jalen because that's what when Dallas played Philly, it was the defense. Like, of course, the offense is his thing, but it was the defense being able to hound Jalen to be able to get turnovers, pick six, and everything. Just icing on the cake. Like once the defense gets rolling, like Philadelphia struggles to be able to put a full game together. So I think that's what's going to end up happening this week. The defense will do enough playmaking to win this game.
Okay. Man, it's so hard to pick these games now, man.
Yeah,
I
it
look
is.
at I look at Atlanta, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta, before they got demolished by us and then demolished by the Patriots, they beat the Saints in New
Yeah,
Orleans. And obviously they didn't have they quarter of passing went out like I think in the second quarter of the Cowboys game, and then they
yeah,
played all of this Patriots game. But you would think that they would still be able to put something together. They scored 3 points in those two games combined. Um,
insane.
so they're kind of, obviously on a downward spiral, but despite all that, they still beat the Saints.
Yeah,
And the Eagles are unfortunately starting to kind of creep up a little bit, and they're starting to play well. I'm gonna go in with Philly in this one, with them being at home.
mm-hmm.
Um, their defense is starting to play a little bit better. Jalen's been playing really well. I mean, I'll give him credit. Like he's starting to figure it out a little bit there, and they're starting to build. Um, I will say though, if it comes down to coaching, obviously I would trust Peyton over Sirianni, but um,
Of course.
I think they got to figure it out, and I think this will be a close game. And I think just with it being a home game for Philly, that may be enough to put them over the edge. So, unfortunately, I'm gonna go Philadelphia in this one, but I
Boo.
have no real vote of confidence either way because it's insane at this point that the last time that New Orleans played, they lost to the Falcons. It just doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. So just based off that alone, obviously, the offense has been kind of struggling to get stuff going, and I think Alvin Kamara's out for this game as well, which who's kind of been like their safe space or
Mhm.
their security blanket, I'll say.
Yeah.
so far this year. So to have him out and obviously have the backup quarterback, their offense has been struggling a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm gonna go with Philadelphia in this one. So we'll see how that shakes out. But there, this one honestly, really, I hope New Orleans wins because last thing I want is
Yeah.
Philadelphia getting momentum.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I just at this point it'll be interesting to see which one decides to show up, which Philadelphia team I mean decides to show up, and the way they've
Yeah.
been playing lately, I think they got a shot. So I'm gonna go with New Orleans in this one. Before we move on to the next one, gotta shout out family here. Just let them know we see them. You know,
What up? You see
appreciate you
me?
watching, big dog.
Yeah.
All right, next game we got uh, the Miami Dolphins, who are at this point 3-7, and the visiting the 2-7 New York Jets. Um, I believe the Jets are starting Joe Flacco in this one.
Yeah.
And I believe Tua is going to be good to go for this one as well. Um, I'm going to pick the Dolphins in this one only because I just don't have. I mean, it's the Jets. I mean,
Yeah.
it's also the Dolphins. So yeah, who knows, man? This might be one of
Yeah.
those like 3-0 or 6-3 or whatever type of games.
2-0.
Um, yeah, I look. The only thing that's giving me, I guess, a reason to pick Miami over the Jets is I trust Miami's defense more, and I actually trust Tua more than I trust Joe Flacco at this point. So based off those two reasons alone, and literally nothing else, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with Miami in this one. How about you?
Same. Yeah, Miami's gonna win this one. New York, oof, it's been ugly for the defense. Like
Yeah.
it's been bad. The amount of points that they've given up the last couple of weeks. Yeah, so I'm definitely going for Miami this one, which is crazy because they beat Cincinnati 3 weeks ago, but then giving up like 45 points a game.
I mean, it don't help when your quarterback throwing 4 interceptions either. Like, just to be
Yeah,
clear,
yeah,
and I
that's
think
true.
Mike White threw 4 interceptions last week. So that certainly does not help your defense because you're getting them on a short field and obviously probably a quick turnaround as far as field position. So that's tough. But yeah, God bless you, Jets fans. Um, Next game, the 3-6 Washington football team going up against the 5-5 Carolina Panthers, who we didn't really get a chance to talk
Both
about
of
this
them.
last week, but
Both
you
of
know,
them.
yeah, exactly. Obviously, we saw Cam come back last week, and the Panthers thrump or put a beat down on the on the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
Cole McCoy kind of came back down to life a little bit, and that Panthers defense is legit.
Yeah,
Um,
I think he got hurt too early
he
on,
did.
didn't
He
he?
did get hurt,
Yeah,
and they had to bring
the
their
third.
third string quarterback in. And
Yeah,
that wasn't nice. Obviously, whenever you're in that kind of issue, it's going to be problems. And so, looking at this game particularly, though,
yeah,
obviously interesting because of the fact that you got Cam Newton playing against his former coach and Ron Rivera, who's
mhm,
now up in Washington. So there'll be probably some emotions in that game. Washington going to go back to Carolina.
yeah.
Rivera playing his former team. So, what are your thoughts on that one, and who do you ultimately see winning that game?
I have Carolina winning. Washington played a good game last week.
They did.
That's tough to say, but they did. They put it on tempo,
They did.
but they don't have Chase Young. He's out for the year with the ACL tear.
Yeah.
So that hurts. Like, yeah, the deep like they had played a hell of a game last week, but not having him for a quarterback that can move around, also have a running back like McCaffrey back healthy, being able to get into space. Like it's tough for it'll be tough for Washington to be able to keep up with that style of offense. So I got Carolina in this one, primarily because like out of nowhere, typically Washington has been giving up over 30 points a game. So last week was more of a abnormality, keeping tempo right around 20 points. So
Cam's back, bro. Cam's back.
Yeah,
Cam's back, man. You saw the energy boost he gave that team come back last week.
yeah,
His
absolutely.
first play from scrimmage, he scored a touchdown. His second play, he throws a touchdown pass. Like
Yeah.
he, I shout to PJ Walker. Like I like him a lot, and I hate that
Mhm.
he's kind of getting the wrong end of the deal as he was the backup quarterback for Carolina before they re-signed Cam. So
Yeah.
now, from what I read, Cam will be starting this week, going up against
Hmm.
Washington. So he'll now PJ will now be a backup again.
Yeah.
But right in the deal for him, but it's Cam Newton, bro. I'm sorry. Like obviously
Come on.
this is not MVP Cam. This is not
Yeah.
2015 Cam. But any version, I won't say any version, but this version of Cam, I think is hungry and determined and ready to prove folks
Mhm.
wrong. Is
Yeah,
really going to
absolutely.
help the Panthers out. And plus, you saw how much he elevated the guys around him. You saw Robbie Anderson kind of come out of nowhere, who's been
Yeah.
really, not having a year because of the Sam Darnold situation. Now he's all of a sudden revitalized. You got, he has the
Exactly.
weapons, obviously, with DJ Moore being there as well. And so he's got a complement of guys that, I'll be honest, he didn't really have in New England as far as
Mm-mm.
skill guys
They don't.
on the end, as far as wide
They don't
receivers.
draft skilled guys on the offensive
They
side. Defense, they do.
defense,
But
absolutely, absolutely, not
defense,
offense.
they do, but not offense. Yeah.
Right.
So
So I
yeah.
think I think the one guy they drafted, Jacoby Myers, just scored his first NFL touchdown last week, and he's been in the league for 2 years, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's just
Longest.
not they don't place emphasis on that and whatever. Like you won 6 rings, so I can't say what you're doing is wrong,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that that's not their point of emphasis. And so for him to
Mhm.
have those skill guys now,
Mhm.
or that Panther squad that he didn't necessarily have in New England, and I'm not saying that that's the reason why he wasn't successful in New England. Obviously, there's an issue with the
Well,
fit in
the
terms of
defense. Yeah.
scheme, and
Yeah.
obviously we know he played well before he caught COVID, and when he came back after COVID, it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
So there could be some, that could play a part in it as well.
And the
Um,
defense was half the defense had opted
was
out last
out.
year. So
You're
and
absolutely
now
right.
they're back, and then they got more free agents too. So they're
Yeah,
balling now.
it's a different team. It's a different team.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I just feel like Cam now just has a different. You can just tell, man. Like he's out. He's on a mission,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately for Washington, they got to catch this L.
Yeah.
But to be fair, like in no way am I saying they're gonna get blown out or it's gonna be lopsided
Yeah.
or anything like that because this same Washington team is coming off of beating Tampa Bay, so they
Yeah.
have momentum on their side as well. So it'll be interesting to see how things shake out. But I just feel like there's a bit of a steamroll momentum for
Mm-hmm.
Carolina with Cam coming back and having the impact that he had on those guys last week. Obviously, like you mentioned earlier, they played a third string quarterback for the majority of that game last week against Arizona. But you still got to play who's on the schedule. You still got to beat the team in front of you, and they did that. And so now they're 5-5. They got an opportunity to really do some damage in terms of potentially being in that wild card area. Now that the rest of the NFC South is bottoming out with the
Mm-hmm.
with the Falcons we just saw. Who I mean, they seem to be done at this point.
Yeah.
So and the Saints, they're in the mix still. Obviously, we'll see how it goes as far as what happens with them this week against the Eagles. But I got the Panthers in this one, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Cam can do, and
Yeah.
I'm
Me
rooting
too.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Next game, the 5-5 Indianapolis Colts visiting the 6-3 Buffalo Bills. How you got this one shaking out?
I have Buffalo primarily because I think Buffalo's going to be on one for this game. Because if they lose, I do believe percentage wise, they will drop behind New England. They won the head to head, I do believe, early in the year.
Yeah.
Uh, but when it comes to, wait, hold on. No, they haven't played yet. Oh, they're about to play in the
Oh,
next
they're
month.
playing.
Okay.
Oh, they haven't
Yeah,
played.
the next month. Yeah, they haven't
Oh, they
played yet.
gotta
Oh,
win
so
then. They
oh
no, we
yeah,
got.
so it's really yeah. So it's going.
Yeah.
So, but New England has played one additional game with the Thursday night game, and then even with the Thursday night game. So because Buffalo had their bye, New England
Oh,
haven't
New
yet.
England hasn't even had their bye yet.
Yeah, they haven't had their bye yet. Yeah.
Sheesh.
Exactly. So I think Buffalo's going to come out on one,
Hey,
looking to make a statement for this game, primarily because this could actually be a playoff matchup. Um, because I feel like Colts have made a push to where they can get one of the wild card seeds, and then Buffalo looking to get at least the number 2 spot unless are able to catch up with Tennessee. But yeah, Buffalo has to win this one. Uh, it's not a. It's basically a must win. Like if you only get 17 games, so every game is a must win.
for sure.
With the way that the Patriots have been playing, especially on the defensive side of the ball, yeah, this is a must win for Buffalo against the Colts to make sure that they, when they go hits December, that those games, Buffalo will have at least a game or half a game up on them.
Colts are playing well lately.
Yeah, they
And
have.
Jonathan Taylor,
They got it together.
Jonathan Taylor's just been like I think he's probably still the fantasy drafts at this point, and he's
Mhm.
just been A1. You said the Pats are on one right now,
Yeah,
and the Colts are on. Well, I'll say Jonathan Taylor is on one at this point. They still got Carson Wentz, so you gotta work around that.
yeah,
But he's been playing well. I mean, I'll give him his credit. He's been playing well lately.
yeah,
Not putting the ball in harm's way as much, and I think for them, like their defense is so good, their running game is so good. Just don't screw it up, Carson Wentz.
yeah,
Like if you could just stay consistent and not turn the ball over, you give your team a chance every week.
yeah,
Um, so this will be a good game, I think, and this will be really a litmus test for both teams
yeah,
to see where they are and to see if they're for real. Obviously, we saw the Bills, do what they did last week and kind of get back in the groove of things, kind of like the Cowboys did, coming off of a Week 9 disappointment. They went into the to Buffalo or to went to the Jets and beat the brakes off of them.
yeah,
Um, and so, they hopefully feel like they're back on track, like what the Cowboys did as well in Week 10, doing what they did against Atlanta. So this will be a prove game, I think, for them because the Colts are not going to lay down and fold. And obviously the Jets. I'm sorry, the defense that the Colts have is way better than the Jets defense. They're not going to be able to get away with what they got away with last week.
yeah,
So we'll really see if that offense is back on track like we think it potentially could be because anytime you only score 9 points against Jacksonville, there's some issues there. And so you hope if you're a Bills fan that game against the Jets kind of got them back on track. But we'll
yeah,
see that in this game, obviously going up against a really good Indianapolis Colts defense. So um, I'm gonna pick the Bills in this one as well, just because I feel like you said, they kind of have to do this now, and I think
yeah,
it's interesting to see how they react because I'm pretty sure they felt going into the season that the division was theirs. They didn't really feel like they had much to worry about. You got
yeah,
two teams with a rookie quarterback, and then the other team with a second-year quarterback, so you felt like with having the sustained lineup that you have from year to year and a veteran quarterback, well, at least veteran in terms of that division,
yeah,
you probably felt pretty comfortable going into the season that you had the division in hand. Now, all of a sudden, you stumble and fall in a couple of games, and
mm,
you got the Patriots doing this. It's
yeah,
tough. It's tough now, and so it's interesting to see how they're able to react to having that pressure with the Patriots essentially on their neck when they
mm-hmm.
probably didn't expect to have that issue at this point. So I think the Bills have had some, I don't want to say issues, but they're kind of a front running team, if we're being
Yeah,
honest. And so it'll be interesting to see how things go now that the pressure is on them and they have no choice but to win every week because of the fact that the
got to
Patriots
keep going.
are on one and they are peaking.
Yeah,
And I did not know that they hadn't taken their bye week. This is late in the year,
yeah.
and going into
They
11
have 2 more
weeks.
games.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
And it's interesting because people talk about rookie walls and how the first year guys are used to playing at the most maybe 13 games, in the
yeah,
college season, maybe 14 if
yeah,
you make it to the championship game. So
yeah,
they'll be right around there when they get that bye. And so we're to see how things go with having them have that bye week at that particular point in time. You never know how much that helps or hurts. But man, that's that division all of a sudden now is up for grabs. And I don't think anybody expected that this late in the season. So I'll go with Buffalo, but I'll just say that they better win. They better
exactly.
win. So yeah, I'll go with Buffalo as well. This next game on paper seems like a wash. I mean, it seems like an easy pick, but I don't know, bro. 0-8-1, excuse me. 0-8-1 Detroit Lions visiting the 5-5 Cleveland Browns. I obviously expect Cleveland to win this game, but I don't know, man. Like, I think it's week to week with Cleveland right now because of Baker's shoulder falling off and just having issues there. Who knows? I think that Detroit, like, just a quick aside. I don't even want to make this video as tight and concise because they're live, but that Lions Steelers game last week was probably the worst game I've at least this year, at minimum.
Yeah.
But I would put an argument up that says that's one of the worst games ever because I don't know if you got a chance to see how like overtime played out in that game.
I did. I saw but most it was of like overtime.
Nobody wanted to win that game, bro. Like it was like they were playing for a tie. Yeah. And then Najee Harris coming out saying he didn't know that there was ties. I was like, bro.
Folks always say that every time there's a tie. Oh, I didn't know.
It's been ties forever.
Do you not know? Do you not know NFL rules by now?
Like I remember when Donovan McNabb said it, but that was a long time ago. Like that was like probably the first year they changed it. So I get maybe just I just forgot or whatever. But that was like I just said Donovan McNabb. When the last time McNabb played in the league?
Exactly. That tie happened almost 20 years ago, at least.
Bro, so I'm saying like it was Donovan McNabb. When last time? I mean, come on, bro. I thought he was in high school. So like, it don't make sense to not know that. It don't make sense to not know that. But I say all that to say like the Lions just don't seem to know how to win because they had the opportunity to win that game. They had, I think it was like a 48-yard field goal somewhere in there. He just shanked it. I'm just like, bro. I just knew they was gonna win that game. I'm like, okay, they finally got it win.
I was cheering for him too,
bro. So I'm sorry, that's a quick aside, but I just, I said like zero excuse. I know Baker's arm was falling off, but it's his left arm. So if you're gonna go out there and play, I feel like Baker with one arm is probably still better than Jared Goff. So based off that alone, I'm picking the Browns to win this game. But we have these quick picks where we feel like, oh, we both agree both teams will clearly win this game easily, and so we won't waste time on this one. We could not agree to do that with this game because I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with this one. But it's Detroit, so it probably just by default should have been a quick pick. But who knows? So I'm going with Cleveland in this one. I'm sure you are too. We just couldn't. It's not a shoe-in like it should be. Like it should be.
I just want to point out, like I told you that not to trust Baker Mayfield against a good team or at least a good defense against the Patriots. And what happened?
You're right. You're
right. This week, I do actually kind of want to pick Detroit because they're undefeated so far in November. Bye week,
that's
and then the tie. They're undefeated so far, so I do want to pick Detroit, especially for my peoples up in Michigan. I do want to pick them for you, but this week I can't. I can't this week. I think just because Cleveland's actually still trying to look at making the playoffs. They're still right there, even though like they're been up and down the whole season, but they're still right there to make the playoffs. So I'm going with Cleveland in this one.
I tell you what, like, was it 3 weeks ago when I picked them to beat Philadelphia because I felt like they were starting to build. I'm not picking Detroit the rest of the year. I'm not.
Yeah.
So, spoiler alert for those that watch every week. We appreciate y'all, but just so y'all know, whenever the Lions are playing, I'm not picking them because y'all have showed me that. In my argument for that game, I think it was 3 weeks ago, maybe 4, when they were playing the Eagles. I said, look, they have not won a game yet, but they've been in games against decent to good teams, and they just couldn't figure it out. Like, obviously, first game that comes to mind is the game against the Baltimore Ravens, where they were an NFL record field goal away from at least still being in the game. So I looked at that game, and they hung around against a couple of other teams as well, and I felt like Philadelphia at that point hadn't really built that momentum yet. Now it's different. That was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. They've clearly turned the corner a little bit, and they're in the conversation for wild card at this point, which is crazy. But I'm not doing it no more. Y'all had y'all week. They got the breakthrough off of them against the Eagles that week. I'm like, all right, I'm done. And the one chance y'all had to beat a team, because that game against the Steelers, like beating this, obviously the Steelers didn't have Roethlisberger, so they were playing with the backup. But that's the game you win because it's like, okay, you know they're not 100%. You know, Ben's out on COVID. This is like a gift to you. You gotta win this game. And they had chances and they blew it. So I'm not picking y'all no more. Spoiler alert to all the prediction videos the rest of the year. We got 7 more weeks after this. I'm not picking them. I don't care. They can be playing the Washington Generals, and I'm not picking them to win that game. I'm not. I'm done. Y'all had y'all chance. I tried to give y'all benefit of the doubt, but you lost it. Jared Goff, bro, you can't beat the Steelers again with Mason Rudolph, bro. Now, again, to your point, they didn't lose the game. They tied.
Undefeated.
But you can't win? Nah, bro, I'm done. So, yeah, Cleveland. Next game is finally we're at one. 4-5. San Francisco 49ers going up against the 2-7 Jacksonville Jaguars. We both agree. That San Francisco wins this game. Shout out to San Francisco for showing up against the Rams. Obviously, a game that nobody probably predicted would go the way it went. But because they did do that, I give them the respect. And so, look, I mean, it's the Jaguars, so they should be good. But the Jaguars just beat the Bills a couple weeks ago, so who knows? But I think we both agree that we expect San Francisco to come out on top in that game. So we won't spend time on that one. We'll go ahead and move on to the next one. Which fits the criteria for another one, thank God. 1-8, Houston Texans visiting the 8-2 Tennessee Titans. Titans, excuse me. Should handily take care of that game to move on to 9-2, so we won't spend too much time on that one.
Real quick, we could possibly be watching. That's a coach of the year right there, and Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just seeing, because we wrote them off. I think, at least I did. After Derrick Henry went down, and they have not lost a game since then.
Yeah.
So shout out to him. Belichick
and the schedule just lightened up too.
Yeah, I think
the only good one from that tree though.
That's true. That is true. Dang, Romeo Bell stinks.
Yeah.
Charlie White stinks. McDaniel stuck so bad he went back. That's a fair point. And, we thought Flores was it, but I don't know at this point anymore.
I think it's more the quarterback than him. But
you think so?
Different day. Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of like Tua not being good, or just Tua not being healthy enough to be good?
Healthy enough. Because like last year, if he would have been healthy last year, that defense was on point last year. So if they would have had a healthy Tua, which means also they should have drafted a different quarterback. But with the way that the defense played last year, they could have made problems for a lot of people. That defense was nice.
But y'all take for Tua though. That's what y'all wanted. That's what y'all wanted.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you think that the way Brian Flores played last year with in and out of the lineup between him and Fitzpatrick affected Tua's development? Like, do you think that he would maybe would be a different player if he had the opportunity to play the whole year last year and start as a rookie, or do you feel like it's just he's fine, but if it's the health issue? Like, do you feel like it's only health, or do you feel like it's health and a lack of development this far into his second year?
I think it's both development and the health. I forgot who said it, but it was basically if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have any quarterbacks. Um,
Yeah,
and with Tua, it should have been one or the other. Just sit him until he was healthy, like he did. And then if you're going to play him, just start him for the rest of the year so he can get those reps, or just sit him the whole year so he can visually see how the game is. Basically, like Patrick Mahomes,
yeah,
give him that opportunity to sit, study the game, learn it from the sideline, and then next year, boom, it's all yours to do with it. And I think just going back and forth and certainty is what hurt his development. So it was, yeah. And then he's been missing so much time just from health wise. He's going to have to end up doing like a Steph Curry, rebuild his lower body
mm.
to be able to stay healthy. But yeah, I think it's a combo of the two.
Yeah. I kind of feel bad for him just because it's hard to feel like you have the support of the team that drafted you when you see that they're trying to make these backhanded deals to get Deshaun Watson, and knowing that
Yeah, that's
he's
tough.
probably not going to be able to play because he may be in jail in the next year. But they're willing to take that chance to give up so much draft capital to get a guy that may or may not even be available in the next 12 months. It's
Yeah.
like, you have me, but you're working behind the scenes to get somebody else that may or may not even be available, and you're willing to give up three firsts, 2 seconds, or whatever the case is that Houston's asking
Yeah.
for. So it's like you're going into work every day knowing that the team that drafted you is working behind the scenes to replace you. It's a
Yeah.
tough dynamic
Yeah.
um, that I feel like is also something that should be considered when looking at what he's been able to do or not been able to do. But ultimately, I think health has a hand in them being so willing to do that because they don't know how available he's going to be. But at the same time, you drafted him when he was hurt. Like he was
Yeah.
rehabbing a hip
Yeah. With the
injury at that
Chiefs.
point. So
Yeah.
you knew that he was going to have some sort of an issue. So it's
Mhm.
like, it's not his fault that you drafted him. He didn't ask to go
Yeah.
to Miami. You drafted him there. So it's like, are you committed or not? And clearly they're not committed long term. So
Yeah.
I think it's hard because you look at a Patriots team, they're committed to Mac. You look at Chicago, it took them a while, but it's pretty
Yeah.
clear that they're committed to Justin Fields. A
Yeah.
lot of these rookies, they know they have that
Jacksonville.
comfort of knowing that there's some security there that the team has invested in them and at least is giving them an opportunity to show where they can or cannot hang. And when you
Yeah.
have a guy like him, like in the same draft class as a Justin Herbert, and all those guys who you clearly know that their franchise is backing them,
Yeah.
it's not the same there. And for Miami, it's like you haven't had a guy replace Dan Marino since he left. Like,
Yeah.
why are you so quick to give up on a
Jesus.
guy? Obviously, I know he's injury prone, but at the
Hmm.
end of the day, you drafted him still. So it's like I feel like you got to give him that chance. And so, it's hard to have all those things going up against him. I do feel like if he was drafted by somebody else, that the situation may be different. But we are where we are, and this is not a tour talking about lower podcast, so I won't spend too much time on it. But just thinking about it, it's
It's
just
real
like
talk.
he just got a wrong end of the deal, and it sucks because he didn't deserve that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he played well. I feel like he should be drafted by a team that already had. Like I feel like if he got drafted by Atlanta, like
Oh,
that's perfect
that would have
because
been smart.
you have a guy who you feel like is still viable.
Yeah.
Whether he is now is a separate discussion, but you have a guy that is still that you want to at least still be a starter, and if you draft Tua, he's not gonna start. So
Yeah.
you have Tua coming in. He's not 100%. Let him rehab. Let him kind of get, like you said, kind of rebuild his body and kind of work towards building a frame that's more conducive to the abuse that you get in the NFL. And
Yeah.
at the same time, have a guy like Matt Ryan still be there for the next 2 years, maybe somewhere in there. At least you
Yeah.
have a guy that you have waiting in the wings to be the replacement, and you're not putting pressure on him to be the starter right away. I feel like that would have been a perfect position for Tua to be in. Like as opposed to now they're thrusting him into this starting spot and then pulling him out and then putting Fitzpatrick in and then putting him in and then pulling him out. Like, sorry, I'm going on a tangent,
Yeah.
but I hate it for him because he seems like he has like he's not trash. Like he could be a good quarterback, but
Yeah.
they're mismanaging him so poorly. It's just tough. So
Yeah.
I hope he's able to figure it out, man, because they're clearly not going to keep him. So wherever he ends up going, I hope he's able to figure that out.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went on a tangent there.
No,
I don't even know where we were. Just kidding. Next game, the 8-2 Green Bay Packers visiting the 4-5 Minnesota Vikings. On the surface, I would have said this is an easy game, but it's a divisional game, and the Vikings hang around. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They hang around.
Yeah, they do.
And the
if there's anything that they do,
they hang around. I give them. They don't win no games, but they lose really close games.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like I think Green Bay got lucky in who they played last week. A guy who just got pinched hanging out of his thumb because obviously we saw Aaron Rodgers come back last week, but he didn't play particularly well in that game.
No.
So they left up against who they played.
Out of it.
Right. So, I mean, obviously having a week of practice now, maybe you'll see a different result. Obviously, I don't want to speculate with how he's able to bounce back from having COVID, but, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. So, it may be a close game. I'm picking Green Bay, but it's not one of those, this is easy type of picks.
Yeah.
Because if we come into this, if we do another video next week and we talking about Green Bay lost, I wouldn't be shocked. Particularly against this Vikings team. So I will say that we've heard a lot about Green Bay's defense getting better, and they have gotten a lot better. But also look at who they played, right? Like you played a backup quarterback against Arizona, or no, kind of played that game. But they kind of gotten the I won't say easy schedule, but easier. And they're playing obviously last week a guy who was coming off of a thumb injury who was out for a month. So they've had some advantageous matchups. Not to discredit them, but I think there's the truth. Like I think they're looked at as like all of a sudden they're a world beater defense, which I don't think that's true. But they're probably somewhere in the middle. They're not trash. They're not the best, but they're probably somewhere in the middle. So if they can be somewhere in the middle, which is what I think they are, coupled with Aaron Rodgers being who he is, that gives them a good formula there for potentially being in the race for that number 1 seed. So I'll pick Green Bay in this one, but again, like I said, not shocked if we talk about them being 8-3 next week. But who do you see winning this game?
You looking?
Yeah.
So I'm
wow.
going for Vikings. Going for Vikings in this one. Hey, I love it.
I'm going for them. But
that's what I think we'll win. You see what time that game is? It's a 12 o'clock kickoff.
It's an early game, yeah.
Yeah, Cousin's going to be on his A game. He's
not a night game. That's fair. It's not a night game.
Yeah, he balling. Hey, let's go Vikings. That's what I'm going for.
Listen,
they show up and show out.
Listen, I would love to be wrong on this one. I ain't gonna lie. I just can't trust that man. But this is the battle of the unvaccinated quarterbacks, right? Like we're gonna see who's who in this one.
I've been wanting to do that for the longest. It's been a while.
You want to do it again for move on? That was pretty good.
Oh.
I hope it works, man. Because let me tell you something right now. If they win this one, you gotta do it next week too.
Oh yeah.
Because we need this. That'd be man. Look, if Green Bay lose, go 8-3. Listen, come on, man. Come on. It's a different discussion at that point. Next game, the 6-3 Baltimore Ravens visiting the 3-6 Chicago Bears. How you feel like that will end up going?
I had 2 quarterbacks that I like.
Yes.
Justin Fields, him at Ohio State, I enjoyed watching him. Lamar Jackson, not so much because he went to Louisville. But there so much talent out of both of them, being able to use their legs, them throwing the ball. It's just between the two of them, it's going to be really fun. But I think Baltimore just going to have just more too much talent for Chicago in this one, so they'll be able to pull this one off.
Um, I watched Chicago win this game so bad. Um,
Me too.
they're gonna have to go Baltimore as well. I think I said this before in previous weeks. Like at this point, I'm probably not picking against Baltimore no more, just because of what they've been able to do. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, I think now I think this week they lost to Tavis Murray for a few weeks. He's been out, and I think he's coming back in this game. So just kind of stabilizing the running game even more, and that's just more of what they want to do, establish the run. I think Khalil Mack is out for the year. I think I saw that. So that's one less guy that they have on their defense. So it's gonna be tough for them. I think Lamar Jackson runs all over them probably in this game, and so yeah, I'll pick the Ravens to win this one as well. But before we move on, we gotta address the elephant in the room. He's not an elephant, but he's an elephant. Big Ed.
Yo,
What's going on, man?
degenerate himself.
The gentleman, I
Degenerate
know, right?
himself.
Hey, man, we missed the gentleman minute, man. You can come back,
Yeah,
man.
man. Gotta bring that back.
Shout out to Ed. So yeah, we both they're gonna go. I think we both gone chalk so far, but it's oh no, we had the Philly New Orleans game different. But it's hard to pick these games, bro. It really is.
Yeah,
It really is.
this November's been wild.
Super wild. Um, we're getting close to the game y'all want us to talk about, folks. Just
We can.
we're getting close. 5-4 Cincinnati Bengals visiting the 5-4 Vegas Raiders. There was some discussion pre-production about where we want to spend time on this game, but after discussing it, I think we kind of understand that right now, Oakland. Las Vegas is just going through it right now as far as obviously losing their quarterback. I'm losing their head coach and then losing wide receiver and then losing the first round cornerback as well. Just a lot going on. I love Derek Carr, but boy, I don't think it's enough prayers in the world to get that together at this point. So we feel like we're pretty confident that this is a golden opportunity for Joey B and the guys to get it together. Obviously, they've kind of fell off a little bit, so this is kind of an opportunity to get right, get the ship righted. And so we both feel like the Bengals will take care of this game. So we will move forward to the next game, which is the 8-2 Arizona Cardinals facing the 3-6 Seattle Seahawks. Probably one that if you just look at the records, you assume, it's going to be an easy game, but it's a divisional game. And we just saw last week with the 49ers playing the Rams on Monday Night Football that you can't assume anything based off of records.
That's crazy.
So with that being said, Will, I'll hang you the floor. How you feel like this one will go? Because this might be a good game for sure, especially with it being in Seattle.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going with Seattle. 12th man stand up. I think they're gonna be able to get this dub. Kyler's missed 2 weeks, so I'm not sure. He more than likely will be in tomorrow, especially after how bad last week went. It's just in Kyler's, he's a game time decision. So again this week, but I think Russ, after that tough game last week, he missed 4 to 6 weeks with that thumb.
Yeah.
Was able to get a lot of rust knocked off. So I think being back at home, he'll be able to show out for the home crowd. So I got Seattle in this one.
So as I talked about at the beginning of this episode or video, however you want to phrase it, our picks are 86 to 85 this year. So I'm gonna offer this as an opportunity because as of right now, we don't know if Kyler Murray is going to play. So you picked Seattle in this one. Is your pick contingent on him playing or not playing, or is it just regardless you feel like Seattle's going to go? Because I'm asking this because Do you want to hedge it and say, hey, if he's playing, I'm picking Arizona. If he's not, I'm picking Seattle. Or do you feel confident in I'm picking Seattle regardless of whether he's active or not?
So it does make it hard because he has missed 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I feel like he will be rusty. But I think that they have so much talent
And
still
Seattle's defense
with him.
stinks, by the way.
Exactly. That they'll be able to pull it off. So yeah, if he was in, I think they'll have enough offense to beat Seattle. But if he's out, Seattle will have enough Russ cooking to get the win.
So I want to figure out how to do this. Because I want to be fair, right?
We can leave this one off as far as the
Because we both picked Pittsburgh last week, and then like as soon as we stopped the broadcast, it was like, oh, by the way, Big Ben's not
Big Ben
playing
up.
that.
Yeah.
So
Like literally 5 minutes after.
after we
Actually,
stopped,
it was
so
within 5 minutes as soon as we
less than
cut off.
like for sure, I was like, are you serious, bro? So I want to be fair because of that, and I feel like we may do an asterisk on this. I don't know how we figure this out. And we'll cross the bridge when we get to it because I do want to be fair in this one because we are so close.
Yeah.
That I want to be fair in this one because I think there's some. I don't know if we do a half. I don't know how we'll put a pin in this one to see how it goes if Kyler's active. Because it sounds like from what you're saying, if Kyler's active, you would pick Arizona to win this game. But if he's inactive, you're picking Seattle. So I want to be fair in that regard. So we'll have your pick in Seattle. We'll put an asterisk by it, and we'll see how it fares out. If there needs to be a tiebreaker or something like that, we need to pick like a score of a game or something like that.
All right.
We'll do that. I want to be fair, bro, because we're too close. Like that's not one of those like if you're winning by 7, it don't matter. If I'm winning by 7, it don't matter. But it's one pick. Like I think we should be fair.
Make a difference.
Can make a difference. So I'm giving you all of that, and I still don't know who the hell I'm picking.
Appreciate it.
Because it's tough because of that, right? Like I feel like that kind of changes things, and I don't know if I think I saw something that said DeAndre Hopkins is out, like he's out. I think he's been ruled out already, and so that helps the Seattle defense obviously to have to the one less thing to worry about from the perspective of who to guard. I just don't know what Russell we're gonna see, and I think that's what. Because I'll be honest, like why I'm on the fence about this pick is not about Kyler, it's about Russie because I don't know which Russie I'm gonna see. If the Russie is the same Russie we saw last week, they had no shot at winning the game. He threw 2 picks in the end zone last week. Like there's no like they have no shot if that's the same guy. And I'll give Green Bay's defense credit; they deserve the credit because they obviously have ascended from what they were at the beginning of the year. Which, by the way, why do you pick Jalen Smith up if you're anyway?
The coach, he knew the coach. Remember?
That's true. That's true. So he gave him a life vest that he still drowned. But hey, man,
in a puddle.
Hey, clear our view.
Yeah.
Clear our view. I'm gonna try to make this time. We're already at 49 minutes. I'm gonna go with Seattle on this one.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Seattle.
Full Seattle or just Kyler as well. That's what I'm saying. Like this one, we can just because
I hate to do that. I'm gonna have to do it though.
It's the only way to do it. It's which is insane because Arizona is favored by 1.5 with Kyler being a game time decision.
And I think that's why, right? Like if he's in, they're favored by more than 1.5.
Yeah.
But I think anytime you see a road team favored, which man, we need the degenerate minute in here because having a road team favored regardless of their quarterback status is like that's one that I would love to hear from the degenerate to see how he feels about picking that game based off of that information because they're saying I don't give a damn whether Kyler plays or not. I'm picking Arizona,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to throw the ashes on there. I don't want to, but I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to. It's too close.
And I think RJ Choppy on the fan says that the quarterback, um, a good quarterback at least, is the biggest mover of your line and can be from like a point to 2 points or something to that nature.
And
So
we saw that
that to
with
me,
the Cowboys game
yeah,
when they moved
that
before
was
the
insane.
Minnesota game. How much they
Yeah,
moved before we even
yeah,
knew
that
that
was
Dak wasn't going to
insane. That
play.
it was like
Um,
they know something we don't know. Yeah, I
exactly,
guess they did.
and they did. They did.
Yeah,
They did. So, yeah, that's your proof right there. If you're a
yeah,
Cowboys fan, you saw that move. I think it was on that Wednesday of that week before we even knew that whether
yeah.
Dak was in or out. We saw the line move so much that like it felt like,
Because
what do they know
yeah,
that
we
we don't?
recorded on that Wednesday. We recorded on that Wednesday,
Yeah.
and that earlier today, Dallas was favored. Then we recorded, checked the stat line, and Minnesota was favored. Like, what is happening? Yeah,
And it wasn't a small swing; it was a big ass swing. Like
it went
it's
from
just
like 3.5 or 4 all the way to two and a
like
half. It's like,
yeah, 2.5.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a whole touchdown. You don't see that. Like you just don't see that.
yeah,
You don't
exactly.
see that. All right, main event time. You know, there are two more games
Game of
after
the
this.
week.
Game of the week, easily. Um, 7-2 Dallas Cowboys visiting the 6-4 Kansas City Chiefs. Well, this video is already 52 minutes long, and it's gonna be an hour. Um, because there's so much to talk about in this game, and I don't want to
Yeah,
like make this whole. I don't want to make this part of the video an hour, but I just want
yeah,
to. There's a lot of moving parts. I think
yeah,
the freshest moving part that we didn't account for is the fact that Mark Cooper is tested positive for COVID-19
yeah,
and is out for not only this game but for the Thanksgiving game against the Las Vegas Raiders as well because he's unvaccinated. And someone who got their booster, you can't see it probably because it's up high. I got my booster this morning. I don't get it. I don't get it. And we just saw how Aaron Rodgers got right through Coles not because he wasn't unvaccinated, but because he lied about
right, yeah.
his status. So that's a different
Because
discussion.
I think for the most part, most of the normal people or whatever you consider normal are basically to the point where okay, these folks don't want to get vaccinated. I just stay away from you, wear a mask or whatever else. But it
Yeah,
was just the lying part. The lying part say there was no reason to lie about it. You either got it or you didn't. You don't have
stand
to
on it.
lie about it.
Stand on
Yeah,
it. You
exactly.
stand on everything else. Stand on
All
this.
these
If you don't,
all these medical folks you talk to, like Joe Rogan, like just send in man.
shut up, Pat. I love Pat McAfee, and I watched it as it was live, and I'm glad
Mm-hmm.
that you caught it. When he mentioned Joe Rogan, Pat was like, "This
Doctor
he
Rogan.
did not just say Joe Rogan." Bro. Anyway, back to Amari. So Amari's vaccinated, and he will not be available at least the next two games. We obviously know about the fact that we won't have Randy Gregory for the next 3-game stretch. We won't have Tank for probably the next 3-game stretch.
Yeah.
So now you're looking at a lot of things happening, and also one thing to mention as well, I think is prevalent, particularly in this game, is that we've learned that Connor McGovern will now be your starting left tackle, replacing Connor Williams. I'm sorry, thank you, left guard, replacing Connor Williams, who is probably right now getting flagged for holding somewhere.
Penalty Williams.
Penalty Williams. So there's a lot of moving parts, and then of course, like we haven't even mentioned the fact that we're playing Chiefs in Kansas City. So I give all of that context, and I hand it to you, and I just say, just thoughts going into the game thoughts about just obviously, I think we both are probably going to pick the Cowboys to win this game.
Yep.
But maybe instead of picking the Cowboys to win this game, taking everything I gave you, what do you think needs to be done in order to assure that we have the result that we want around 6:30 Central Time tomorrow night?
First thing first, we definitely should have bought tickets to this game.
For
Like
sure,
we
we
had
talked about this
discussed.
too, man. And I'm pissed because
As soon as the ticket, I mean the schedule and the tickets dropped.
we talked about this, and I'm mad, and I didn't want to bring it up because two of my cousins are there, and I saw one of them check in today in Kansas City, and I was so mad. I'm like, you anyway. So shout out to Cedric and Kenny. I'm hating.
Yeah.
But yeah, just sorry. Back to you. I apologize.
So for Dallas, the I think for the most part, it's going to have to be about them playing their game. One thing that's been pointed out is like Dallas is the best score first team in the league. They score first. They're probably going to blow you out, and that's actually what has happened. Whenever they score first, that puts pressure on other teams, and then they end up winning by like three scores or more. But whenever the other team scores first, it puts pressure on Dallas, and it ends up being a closer game uh, or a blowout like the Denver game was. But most of them have typically ended up being a close game. The Tampa game, their losses were the two losses that they have. The other team scored first, and then the close games that they had, like the Patriots game, they scored first as well. So it just shows you like what happens. So
Yeah.
Dallas, they're gonna have to score first, jump out on Kansas City. Um, yeah, Kansas City defense isn't like world beater, but Mahomes is still Mahomes. Cheetah's Cheetah, Kelsey is Kelsey. So they still have a ton of talent on that side of the ball that you have to respect. And it just sucks that uh, on the injuries has piled up on our D line, and if you watch I know you have, but for everybody on that's watching this, if you hadn't watched the sounds of the game, you need to go watch it from last week. Michael Parsons wants his hands in the ground throughout the game because he even talked about it at the end. It's like, yo, I want a chance. Let me get back out there. I don't want to play linebacker. I want to go get him, and like right now, that's the whole thing. It's like, do you want his hand in the ground to go get Mahomes? Which I mean, yeah, you do, but also if Mahomes break containment, now we got
Right.
other issues.
Right.
And him playing linebacker keeps containment of him. And
Right.
then Hilaire is playing this game. Edwards Hilaire is playing this game. He's healthy, playing this game. So if he's not fumbling the ball, he's a good talent with the ball in his hand as well. So I think the main thing is just Dallas playing a game, being able to push up front, being able to. They can't go behind Mahomes. They have to stay. They have to stay disciplined. The D line and whoever blitz, they have to play contain. So don't get behind Mahomes. Force Mahomes to play backwards. Basically, what they do with Russ. Force him to play backwards. Don't let him go side to side. Don't let him break containment and get up the field. Um, get the ball out of his hand as quick as possible because the longer he holds it, the bigger the play will end up happening. That's when you have the deep balls to Cheetah and stuff like that. I think they need to put Anthony Brown on Cheetah because just because of how shifty he is and his speed, I think Brown is a better matchup than Diggs because Diggs, I think you can put Diggs on Kelsey just because both of them are big, both of them athletic. I think that would be a better matchup for him, or even actually Jordan Lewis, because the way that Jordan Lewis um, defended Kamara a few years ago. So just to show with the athleticism, him being able to hang. But so you have a couple of people that can play with him, or have a chance to at least try to slow him down. So I think this will mainly be on the defensive, on our defense side of the ball, because I feel like the offense going to do what the offense does, but it's just I don't want this to be another Denver game with Peyton and Romo when it was like 49-45
Yeah.
at the end. Yeah, I don't need that. I want Dallas to be able to go get out there, put points up, slow them down, and be there as soon as possible and get back to Dallas for Thanksgiving. What about you?
I don't know, man. Look, obviously, we'll pick the Cowboys to win this game.
Yeah,
Um, I think the biggest thing is gonna be the defense. I'm not worried about the offense. Obviously, losing Amari Cooper's it's a big deal. I don't want to downplay it.
yeah.
But when you have a CeeDee Lamb, you have Michael Gallup back. You have Cedric Wilson, who obviously
Good
is
thing we didn't trade
has
Gallup.
hello, hello, and good morning. Um, the fact that we have Cedric Wilson, who has already played a big role in this year with Michael Gallup being out, is gonna be beneficial because he's not like just coming off the bench and hasn't played all year. He's been playing a prominent role in this offense throughout the duration of the year because we didn't have Michael Gallup in the lineup until now. So
Yeah,
I think having that, I'm not concerned with the wide receiving core. Um, I do think that this is an opportunity for. Like, I think can they win the shootout? Of course they can.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I feel like their real strength is being able to run the football. And I think that the Chiefs' issue is run defense. And so I think they need to utilize Zeke and TP
yeah,
to maintain possession of the ball to keep Mahomes on the sideline and
yeah,
make it one of those games. Because I do not think that the Chiefs are built to win a 20-17 game. And I think the Cowboys are built to win 20-17, and they're
mm-hmm.
also built to win 38-35, right? They're
Yeah,
built to go either way. I don't think that the Chiefs are built in a way that if they only have the ball for 20 minutes, that they can maximize that.
yeah,
I think one of the things we've also seen so far this year is how teams have really been able to, I guess, put a cap on what the Chiefs have been able to do is playing more of a cover two type of zone defense,
yeah,
which Cowboys have not played that much. Dan Quinn has
yeah.
been a lot more
Atlanta.
man, right?
Yeah,
But that I think that's dangerous in this game because of your Tyreek Hills and your Travis Kelsey's.
yeah,
I don't see anybody on this team that can really match up with Travis Kelsey, honestly. Like if we went man to man, like if you
yeah.
said you know, either
If you say you
Trayvon's
get,
traveling with him or
yeah,
Anthony Brown can't, but like maybe I don't know who you would pick to travel with him. So I think the best thing is to play a
Byron,
zone.
come back.
I know, right? Um, so I because they haven't played zone so much this year, I think the recipe is just keep them off the field. Like if
Yeah,
we can have the ball for 40 minutes out of the 60, I think
yeah,
that's your recipe. I think that's how you win this game is you say, yeah, I know Dak is the top three quarterback in the league, and I know that we have the weapons to do that. But Patrick Mahomes can't be Patrick Mahomes if he's sitting on the sideline.
yeah.
And so I think if you utilize that run game and
Shorten the
give
game.
those guys an opportunity to dictate how the pace of the game goes, I
Yeah,
think your chance is better there. And again, it's not to say they can't win a shootout because they can, but I
yeah,
think your best bet in terms of giving you the best chance to win is to take the air out of the ball and to keep those guys off the field because the way that we've seen this year as the most effective way to stop the Chiefs offense is not our strong suit. So I don't know if you want to play with fire like that.
yeah,
I think if you do play with fire like that, then you're gonna have a shootout. And like I said, I don't think they can. I'm not saying they can't win that. I think they can,
yeah.
but the best
Be
chance I feel
chaotic.
like is to take the air out of the football. And so that's my thing. And especially now knowing that we don't have the like you talked about, just a lack of depth at the defensive line
Yeah.
makes things kind of more problematic. Um, Doris Armstrong had a hell of a game. I will say though, and we've talked about this offline. I don't think we said it on here. Bo's fossil. I mean, Bo
Oh, yes, yes, yeah. Say
like
that with me.
that,
Say
and
that
I
with
think
me.
now you can look at what they've been able to do in special teams and potentially have that be a factor in how this game goes.
Yeah,
And so I think now that
same.
now that we're seeing him put his imprint on special teams, I think that could be a potential swing in the right direction for us as well. So I think that's important. An important facet of the game to look at throughout this game too is, can you get a block? Can you get a key good return from CeeDee Lamb or Tony Pollard on kickoff returns? Uh, they probably won't get a kickoff return because Harrison Butker kicks that ball like out of the stadium, so you're probably going to get a return. But is there a key return you can get on special teams with CeeDee Lamb and how they scheme things? Can you get a block on their punter? Those type of things.
Yeah,
I can certainly see special teams playing a part in them
yeah,
coming out with the win. So it's a road game, obviously. Everybody talks about how loud it gets at Arrowhead. I totally get it. But
yeah,
this team, I think we won 4 road games. So, like, there's at least 3. I want to say it's 4.
yeah,
The only loss, I believe, was the Tampa game at the beginning of the year.
yeah,
So, you have the recipe. You have the we've been here before type of situation. We obviously had a hostile environment in New England that came out with a win there. So there's a
yeah,
recipe there. There's a way to do it. I think you just have to make sure that although we saw this defense play extremely well against Atlanta, we don't want to just assume that, oh, they got it. So for me, I feel like you play to your strengths. And
yeah,
I feel like your strength is running the football, taking the air out of the ball, give your team the best chance to win that way. It's nothing wrong with a 13, 14, 15 play drive, where you have the ball for 7 to 8 minutes out of the quarter. And, if the defense gets a 3 and out, get the ball right back to the offense. Let's do another 10, 13,
yeah.
play drive. Like that's totally okay. So I
Yeah.
think that's the
That's a good
recipe.
way to.
Just because you want to give your defense a chance because there's a quick turnaround and
Yeah,
there's a way to
I
take
was
the
just
air out of
thinking
the
that
ball.
too. Yeah,
That's huge for us. And so and again, one last thing before I get off of this. I do not understand. Now it's better that we're not playing Sunday night, but it's still a late game on a
yeah,
short week. And
yeah,
on the road again,
yeah.
like if it was at home, that's different. But you're playing on the road. I get Kansas City the short flight, so it's not a big deal. You're not playing against
It's
Seattle
it's
or
not like that one year where we went from New York Sunday night to Dallas for
like what are we
Thanksgiving.
doing? What are we doing? Like
Yeah,
it is a shorter flight. It's not Sunday night, but it's still a late
yeah,
game on the road when you play it 4 days after that. So I
yeah.
don't know what the scheduling gods have against the Cowboys. I don't know why, and I just feel like it should be a lock.
It's
Like
the money.
for me, I feel like it should be a lock every year. The game before
Mm-hmm,
Thanksgiving is at home. The Thanksgiving
mm-hmm.
game is at home, and then the game after that's on the road. Like that. That
Yeah,
should be like just that should be it.
yeah,
Like a
yeah,
12 o'clock game at home the week before on week 11, a Thanksgiving game at home on week 12, and a road game on week 13. You know it's gonna be Thursday night. Like just
yeah,
what's so hard about that? I don't understand. So
yeah.
I get it. It's better that they're doing it at 3 o'clock as opposed to 7 o'clock. So that's fine. But man, like
It's
I
tough.
know you want the ratings, and I know it's game of the week and all that type of stuff. But bruh, you could do that at 12. You like this game at 12. Like because
Yeah.
like I feel like they do like you have a good game on Fox at 12, and then your
Mm-hmm.
game of the week can be on CBS at 3:30, and like
Yeah.
that could be I mean, I have like I don't know the schedule like off the top of my head, but you can Steelers Chargers. I know it's Sunday night, but like there's a way to do this, right? Where you
Yeah.
have
Absolutely.
if you're gonna have them on Fox, have them on Fox at noon, and then have a game of the week on CBS that week. Like, come on, man. Like, anyway,
Yeah.
um, that's annoying to me. And maybe it's just like I mean, they're not complaining about it, so
No,
maybe I
that
shouldn't.
is
But I just
bad.
feel like it's like, bro, really, like You gonna make it the road game every week? Like week 11 on the road is like you just lock that in every year or what? Like I don't get
Yeah.
it. But anyway, that's
I
kind of
think
so
that's
yeah.
their way of punishing Dallas for keeping the Thanksgiving game. Just
But
that
why
road
is it a
game.
bad thing? Is Detroit playing on the road this week?
Yeah,
Let me check.
they're in
They are.
Cleveland. Yeah,
Okay,
they're
but
in
it's in
Cleveland.
Cleveland, Detroit, Michigan, Cleveland, Ohio. Like, bro, really? That's not.
And
And it's at 12.
what's insane is every home team for Thanksgiving is on the road. Detroit, New Orleans, and Dallas.
I don't understand that.
Yeah,
I just don't understand that. And at least Detroit and New Orleans are getting a 12 o'clock game. You
yeah,
know, and Cleveland is not far from Detroit. Like
no,
it's not. And again, it's at 12.
yeah,
Seattle and Philadelphia. I mean, sorry, the Saints in Philadelphia. That ain't
yeah,
close.
yeah.
But again, it's at least at noon, so you get. They might be back before the end of the Cowboys game. They'll be back. You
Yeah,
know what I
like
mean? Like,
Buffalo is New Orleans Thanksgiving opponent. They're playing at home at 12.
I mean, come on. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
it's,
look,
it's pretty crazy.
I'm not sitting here saying that the schedule is easy to make. I'm not, but I feel like if you know that you have your three home teams, you know who you're having hosting Thanksgiving games. You know,
Yeah,
every year is two teams, Detroit and Dallas, and there's a third team somewhere. So you
yeah,
know that already. So why can't you just say, all right, well, let's have them have two games back to back, week 11 and week 12 at home, and then because you get week 11 and 12 at home, you have to play week 13 on the road. Like I feel like that's
yeah.
reasonable. But
I
whatever.
wouldn't be upset if they rotated at least like between road and home that Sunday game before Thanksgiving, just to keep it balanced. But yeah, the constant
It's
road
always a
game.
road game for us, it
Yeah,
seems
that
like.
constant road game is insane. I think I only think once uh, there's been a home game on Sunday, like maybe once, but of recent history, recent memory, yeah, it's always been a road game.
Let me ask you a question before we move on real quick.
Hmm.
Obviously, the Cowboys and the Lions play every Thanksgiving. That's
Yeah, it's
locked in.
tradition. Hmm.
Would you be mad if they had road games on Thanksgiving? Like, yeah, you play, but let's
Hmm.
say they played the Cardinals in Arizona on Thanksgiving one year. Would you have an issue with
So,
that?
like, I'm used to the country music that I don't watch during
We wouldn't
halftime.
have it if they put them on the road.
That's true. So,
Now, usually, I don't know about how y'all do this in that household, but usually halftime is when it's time to get some more food. So
yeah,
we don't
yeah,
really
we're
pay
not
attention to the
focused on it.
halftime.
We're not.
We're getting some more food. We fuel it
Yeah,
back up. So it's kind of helpful in that regard that you get time to go get something to eat or whatever,
yeah,
refill your plate or whatever. But
yeah.
I thought about this before,
We're
and I
pretty
meant to ask
similar.
you, but would you would you would you be totally opposed to? I'm not saying
No,
alternate
not
every
really.
year, but
Yeah. No,
I
as long
mean,
as they're not, as long as they don't put them at in the morning game, as long as they're not morning, they
yeah, you
keep
keep
them
your
in the
slot. Keep your
afternoon.
slot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as
keep
long
your
as it's
slot.
the afternoon game at 3 or whatever, I'm fine with that. That's the main thing I'm worried about. I will be worried about is just the time, but location, yeah, it doesn't matter as much to me.
I think if you keep your slot, it limits where you can go, right? Like,
Yeah,
if you're gonna play 3:25 or three whatever time it is on Thanksgiving, I think it's like 3:30.
yeah,
You will be playing Seattle in Seattle. You will be
yeah,
playing
yeah,
the Chargers or whatever. But you could play the Ravens. You could play the
yeah,
divisional game against the Eagles. You could play against Washington. Which
yeah.
they seem to do that game a lot. Um, I just think like hey, if they did Baltimore, we know they ain't doing no country music in the Baltimore game at
Yeah,
halftime.
that'll be. We play the Falcons for Thanksgiving. That'll be fun.
Exactly right, Killer Mike or Outcast or somebody like this.
Man,
Now,
listen.
I don't think Jerry ever falls for that because I think Jerry just wants that game at
Oh no,
home.
Jerry ain't giving up
But
that
it's
money.
but it's not like you're losing a home game. Like you still get 8.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it
yeah.
ain't like this is 9 games. Like you still get 8. Like I don't know how they worked it out now with
I
the
think it's
17
every other
games
year.
every
Every
other
other
year,
year.
right? So I
Yeah.
don't know this year if they have 9 or 8, but I mean I don't know. I just was curious about that because I'm like I don't even know who the guy is to do a country music for halftime this year. I saw his name. I don't know who that is. So I don't remember it. But I'm just like, man, this is not going to change unless they move it somewhere. So I was like,
Yeah.
what if they move it somewhere? Like, you still keep
Yeah.
your Thanksgiving game because you're still going to get the viewership. Like, it's always going to be there. Wherever you
Yeah.
go, it's going to sell out, regardless of what stadium you go to. Like, it's going to get packed. So it's like, now again,
Yeah.
Jerry not going to do it. But I'm just
They have
curious.
eight home games this year. The ninth one they have 9 road games. It was the Patriots.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Yeah, the Patriots was the extra week game.
Okay. Okay. So I would say the years that they have 8 home games instead of 9, why not have that road game on Thanksgiving? Why not? I mean, you still
Yeah,
get your 9 home games, like
yeah,
you already gonna have, but he
yeah,
ain't doing it. But I'm just curious. Like,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that would be a
Yeah.
cool change of pace. Like, but anyway, um, back to regular schedule program. Um, Sunday night game, 5-3-1. Pittsburgh Steelers visiting the 5-4 Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers have just been
Um,
sputtering.
yeah,
I'm having to draft a kicker in fantasy because of them because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Really disappointing in terms of what they've been able to do or not been able to do so far this year. Steelers obviously coming off a tie against the Lions without Ben Roethlisberger. I believe he's active. I think he's been playing in this game. Not sure if that changes anything for you either way, but who do you see winning this one between the Steelers and Chargers?
Chargers. I think got Chargers. I think Justin Herbert going to get off the schneid and
Hope so.
put it together. Because this one, they have to win this one for playoff positioning, especially since now they're behind Kansas City in the division, so they have to get this
Mm-hmm.
one to try to stay close to them, but then also wild card as well. But I think if Dallas wins, beats Kansas City, and then Chargers win, Chargers get the half game up or whatever, or
Mm-hmm.
actually get the lead on Kansas City for the division. So yeah, I think they'll win this one because they understand how important it is.
They got to win this game
Yeah,
at home. Like this, you have to win this game. So I'm gonna pick them as well. But I mean, if they lose this game, they're probably done. They're probably cooked. I mean, like even the Big Ben comes back. It's the Steelers. Obviously,
yeah,
Najee Harris has been playing well, and so they have their run game working for them, and that kind of helps them in the pass game because it keeps defense honest. But man, like, all right, Chargers, like,
yeah,
like this is it. You gotta get it
yeah,
done. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers as well in this one. Sunday night football, everybody's been watching it. They gotta get this one done for sure. This is a must win. I don't think there's any question about that. So I'm gonna pick the
yeah.
Chargers as well. Monday night, the 3-6 New York Giants, who, by the way, you look at how they're playing, you wouldn't think they're 3-6. Just saying.
Yeah.
Going up against 6-3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who appear to be sputtering. They've lost 2 games in a row. Lost the game before their bye, had the bye week, came off of their bye and lost again. So still got issues there. Um, what are your thoughts going into that game? Who do you have ultimately winning it?
I want the Giants to win it, but because of the back-to-back losses, I think Tampa will end up getting this one, and especially, I think they want to win it to also clear to get folks off of AD's case as well because he
Mm.
has with the fake vaccination card news coming out because he didn't pay his chef. So I think Tampa come out and win this one.
He goes to jail if this is true, right or no?
Nah,
Like this is a
nah.
federal
It's
offense, allegedly. It's a federal offense
oh
to not have to basically to have a fraudulent vaccination card is a federal offense.
oh I
So
didn't know that. I thought it was
yeah,
just
they're not
I
playing with
I
that.
thought it was if you're like I thought it depended upon the job or the location. Like if it was if
Maybe
you
there's
work
that.
for the federal government and you
Maybe there's
have
that because
or
I know
yeah.
Evander Kane supposedly had a fake I know this is not a hockey podcast, but Evander Kane had a fake vaccination card from what we understand, and he got suspended for 20 games by the NHL
Mm,
because of that. So
shit.
maybe it's I thought it was a federal offense, and from what I read, having a fraudulent vaccination card is a federal offense, but it could be based off of your employment. That could be true.
No,
Um,
you could be
because
you could be right. It
because
makes sense though.
if
Falsifying medical records.
you know what it may be if your job requires you to be vaccinated,
Mm-hmm.
and the NFL does not require you to be vaccinated. So I
Yeah.
think that may be the caveat. But from what I read, if and it may just be again, it may just be if your job requires it. But from what I
Yeah.
read, in certain instances, it is a federal offense to have a fake vaccination card.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be interesting to see that.
You're gonna learn
But
two things: stop lying and pay people.
I mean, bro, come on, man. Like we're not spending time on it, but like, dog, that's two chefs.
Yeah,
That's the second chef that you have not been
yeah,
at. Like, come
yeah.
on, bro. I
That's
mean,
yeah. Plus, once I cooking for them.
you're not making money. So
Yeah,
like, what's anyway?
yeah.
Um,
You best
so
friends
you're
with
you're
Tom Brady. Why can't you get your money right?
Tom Brady ain't giving you no money. Like, bro,
No, I'm not saying he giving him money, but he can at least give him like, yo, stop spending your money on stupid stuff.
that's true. I don't know about this game, bro. I really don't.
Yeah.
I really don't know because there's something broken with that team, and obviously,
Defense.
you think it's a defense, just a defense,
Well,
or they
the
appreciate it's the
defense
primary
is,
issue.
yeah, they're giving them more points than what they did last year.
I'm going Tampa. You know why? Because
Mm,
Jason Garrett's the offensive coordinator for the New York Jets.
exactly.
Although
89
they've
score
had
for
games where
them.
they've scored a lot of points, so I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's Jason Garrett. They gonna figure him out.
Yeah.
They'll figure him out. And Saquon, and he's questionable still with his ankle. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go with Tampa, but it won't be. I don't think it'll be a beat him down necessarily. I think it may be a closer game than Tampa probably wants it to be. With them being at home, you would think they'd be able to take care of business, so I'm going to pick them. But there's a reason why this was not one of those. We're both picking Tampa, and we're not going to talk about it. I think there's reason to question whether or not this is going to be an easy out for them. And so I feel like Eli will have some choice words during that Manning cast going up against Tom Brady. I bet the Giants wish he could play. Because if he played against Tom Brady, I probably would have my pick changed. Yeah, it should be a fun Manicast that week for sure.
Oh yeah.
But that's our picks, guys. Will, any last thoughts before we shut this puppy down for the evening?
No, just I need my fantasy team to act right. But other than that, we good. We good. Y'all stay safe out there, world.
I'm done. Bro, they got 4 picks and a touchdown. 4 picks and a touchdown.
Yeah.
This dude got 35 points off his defense, bro. Like I ain't played nobody. I ain't nobody played on my team, and I'm all right. It's already over with. Like 35 points from a defense.
Then,
Would you
yeah,
lucky
man,
if your
you can do it
defense
like
gets
that.
like 8 to 10, and he got 35?
Yeah.
Like it's over with.
Nasty.
But that's not. This is not a conversation for the podcast. This is a conversation on mine. Guys, Much appreciated. Appreciate you guys
It's,
for hopping on
mm,
for the
hanging
live
out with us.
cast. Those of you who are watching this after it's been recorded, what are you doing? I will also say that we will be back on Sunday, probably Sunday evening, after the Cowboys Chiefs game to recap that, and then we'll have a quick prediction for the Thanksgiving games before Thanksgiving. We'll work out the scheduling for the remaining games of Week 12, but you'll see something from all for both of us for all the games going into Week 12. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to follow us, subscribe on YouTube at Glowstone Sports. Um, I will be at some point, probably by the end of this week, getting a Twitch account together for
You're
us to be able to simulcast on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. So be on the lookout for that. Follow our socials at Glowstone_Productions for that information. But we're trying to get it together, man. It's a
yeah,
slow
man.
moving thing, but we
It's
chugging
going.
along. So appreciate you guys around with us as always. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. But that's it. So for Will, I'm Jay. Go Cowboys, and we are